Welcome, affiliate listeners, to another very special episode. So special, we even have a non-traditional guest with us today, as we have 4 people on the episode. And today, because we actually have in town some of our top clients, the top fraction of a percent of our clients are in town for our Diamond Summit. And so you are going to have access to diamond level secrets for all you media buyers out there. They're looking at Meta and thinking, Zuckerberg, you bastard, you're ruining all of my media buying. We're going to give you some secrets and nuggets that you need to know that you could use today to improve your Meta campaigns and start going from hitting Zuckerberg to yourself curling your hair and getting your own gold chain because you love him that much. And I am joined by our resident media buying experts and affiliate experts, Michael Lohman. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for letting me play understudy to Thomas.
Yes, it is nice that I could be taller than my co-host for just once. That's
yes,
always, it's a rare occurrence.
Right out of the gate.
But I have to enjoy it.
Right out of the gate, man.
As somebody short on short jokes, because I'm normally the brunt of them.
Right out, like, didn't even wait. Didn't even wait. Like, might as well get them all out right now.
Well, with that, you actually brought our guest today. So
Yes.
I don't know if you want to introduce them a little bit as well. But they are some fantastic diamond level media buyers, some great story, and they come from the other side of the pond, which actually I should say, before we introduce them, it's why we have our special drink today. We're doing a beautiful scotch, because anytime we go to the United Kingdom, that does include Scotland, and they have some pretty cool alcohol that comes from there in the form of scotch. So we have a delightful scotch that we're going to share today with our in-person guests. Why don't you introduce them, Mike?
Yes, we have Cem and Syed here, and they are Diamond affiliates, new Diamond affiliates for this year, newer to ClickBank, not newer to the industry. They are incredibly intelligent. They know their stuff. And for those people out there, you're going to want to listen because they know Meta. Seriously, they know Meta inside and out. They know all the problems, and for all the cursing and the Zuckerbergs and the gold chains and all of that, they know their stuff. So it's going to be a great podcast. For you guys, welcome. How are you guys liking Idaho so far?
Beautiful place, I think. Nice, tranquil. Love the mountains around it. Glad to be here.
We should probably say that they've been here for a full 24 hours.
Yes, it has. And so that was Cem. And Say, what about you? How do you appreciate Idaho so far?
Yeah, I'm still fighting the jet lag.
Yeah. And I'm sure your British skin has to just feel like, where did all the moisture go? It was here, and I got off the plane. It seems to be nowhere. So I know that's always a tough transition for my friends from UK when they come over here. So far, are you feeling that? The dryness is a little rough?
A little bit, but I mean, I guess we're from the UK. It's not, we're used to the weather here. That's one thing. It's cold, super cold. So now it's cold. We're used to it. So.
That's good. I'm glad we didn't bring you to sun and allow you to think maybe we should leave the UK.
I prefer the sun.
Yeah. There's not much sun going on right now in springtime in Idaho.
Well, before we jump into the secrets, because I know everyone's chomping the bit, but we wouldn't be marketers if we didn't leave an open loop. So we're going to dial things back a little bit. And what's really cool is you guys had a little bit of an interesting dynamic in terms of how you met and developed your partnership in your business. But why don't you guys kind of walk us through way back when you guys first met and actually got started in this wild online marketing industry? And with that, we'll actually cheers to Meta as we talk about this today. There you go.
Cheers to the Zuck.
To the Zuck.
Yeah, you want me to start or you go first?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Zuck don't suck. Now, tell us the story of how you got started, Cem.
Okay, so quite a while back now, about 8 years ago. So I initially met Syed in a business coaching group. It was called Daily Business Hustle, and they basically taught you how to do copywriting, how to do Facebook ads, how to go get freelance clients, and it worked. A lot of people in that group do get results. And basically I came in there because I had a friend who was in that group, and he was doing high ticket sales for a fitness coach, and he was making $5,000 a month commission at the age of 17 while I was...
Man. I was making $5K of trouble at 17. Definitely not money. So.
Yeah, not a lot at 17.
Yeah, so I was just blown away. How is he doing this, right? This was we were literally in school at this point. I was doing A-level, so...
For A-level, for the U.S. listeners, what's A-level?
What do you call it?
High school.
High school. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the 16 to 18-year-old range.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, I need to get involved here because I had a gap year. So I didn't go to university straight away. And
Smart.
I had to basically retake some exams to get into medical school. And I got into medical school, but then I had a year basically out of education. before I could enter medical school. So within that year, I got introduced to like business and sales and copywriting, and I went through this guy's training, and there was like a Facebook ads coach in that group. He was called Nazim, and he was really good. He was doing a lot of like running a lot of high ticket funnels. So I was just learning from all these guys around here. I started picking up a couple of my own clients. I picked up like 2-3 clients at a point, and I wasn't making much. I was charging like $500 a month for like Facebook ads back then, right? Just to manage their accounts.
They were getting the steal back then. They're like,
man.
holy crap. This whole freelance thing is awesome.
No, they definitely weren't getting the steal.
Okay,
like,
okay.
I mean, I wasn't very experienced back then.
Gotcha.
Right. So
technically somebody was seeing their ad account.
No, it's in like, I look back and I think, oh man, I probably could have like ran the account better or tested more and stuff like that. But when you first get in started, right, you don't have that much experience. So
Right.
I picked up a few like these freelance clients, and then I got the offer accepted into medical school, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to do medicine, like kind of like change, and there's a lot of like pressure in the school, especially the school I went to had a lot of like Asian people there who like want to go dentistry, want to go medicine. So I kind of was like, all right, medicine's a good career. I enjoy the science, a respected career. Like, let me go be a doctor. And then I guess sort of out that school system, right? I was like, do you know what? I kind of find business more interesting, because I'd never obsessed about something as much as like business and copywriting and Facebook ads. Whereas like in school, I just did what was needed to get the grades, right? Whereas I was like, wow, I actually discovered a passion here. So in my gap year, I just spent like all my time, 7 days a week. Like I'd just get up, go on the computer, I'd go through courses, I'd write copy, I would like send proposals on Upwork to get clients. I just did whatever it could to get customers, do the work for the customers, and learn about like marketing. I read all the copywriting books, like the Dan Kennedy, the Eugene Schwartz, the Cash everything that I could get my hands on. I just bought it, I read it. And so I was at a point where had a few freelance clients. I decided, okay, I'm not going to do medicine. Anyone who's got Asian parents will tell you, like, man, it's going to kick up a fuss with them.
Yeah.
Like my
just go to medical school and lie.
Yeah.
Just
like my mom, Turkish immigrant, like she wasn't too happy. But then from that, I then met Syed, because Syed was also running as a Google media buyer in one of the big energy companies in the UK. And then he had some freelance clients as well. He was running Facebook ads for, and we were like in the same city. So like Syed was in Birmingham University. I was in a place called like Sutton Coldfield, just like, 25-minute drive away. So, we noticed that like I really enjoyed like media buying. So I really enjoyed media buying. We spoke a lot about it. And then it just kind of made sense to like sort of work together. So, we'd get some clients, we'd work on the clients together, built up a small portfolio of clients. Again, we weren't charging a lot of money. And we had like some clients paying £500 a month, £1,000 a month, and then within a few years we got the business to about £60,000 a month with no employees, so just us two, and we were consistently turning over that amount. And
Wow.
yeah, so it was good. Like I was like 21 at the time when I was here.
21 when you were doing that?
Yeah,
I'll show those doctors and all the medical school.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of doctors who are pulling that in. Every month.
Yeah.
But like it's a weird one, because it's just like you're spending all your time like working and doing like all this marketing stuff. You don't really look to like spend it like, or like, oh, I'm going to buy a car and this, and like you don't really look at it like that, because you're just so obsessed with like, okay, look, we've got this account, we need to scale the account. All right, Jem, go make a funnel. Or, but like, oh, so I got new client on board it. Like you're just obsessed with what you're doing, right? And it's just when you're young, like you just really obsess over these things. So we got to that point. Syed had obviously quit his job, a couple of years before that, and then from that point, we then brought on another partner who's the CEO. He's called Shabazz, and then from there, we transitioned from like a freelance business to then bringing on employees, office, some bigger clients, and so on and so forth. And now we're at a point where I think it's about almost 40 staff, like half in the office, half are remote. And running multiple six figures per day on Meta.
Are most of your employees like from the UK? Like, or for the ones that are in the office and remote, or how does that all kind of work out?
The media buyers are all in-house. The creative strategies are all in-house. And some of the key managerial roles are in-house. And then everyone else is So like in the post-production, the video editing, the graphic design side, they are mainly in the Philippines and South America.
Wow.
Gotcha. Help keeping some of those costs down for those types of positions makes sense.
Yeah. I think the way we like to do it is, when you're editing videos for Meta, right, you've got like the strategy and the ideation behind it. And so like we find that like if people are collaborating together in the office and like, it can work really well, like the creative strategist can talk straight to the media buyer and, exchange the learnings that way. But then when there's other parts of the creative work that are like, okay, we need to change a hook, right?
Yeah.
And it's like an iteration work and, we don't really... people in the UK, like, they don't always want to do that kind of work. They want to be doing like the big brainsy work and stuff. Whereas people overseas, they're happy to crack on. They've got a much more of a sometimes some of them have a bit more of a go-getter mentality and they don't mind what they're given.
Yeah, you're just happy to have it. So, first, that was a great story, and I just want all the immigrant moms out there to go from horror to know that it isn't just doctor, lawyer, and
Also
doctor,
affiliate
lawyer. What's the
marketer.
other one? We have doctor, lawyer. What's the other one I'm missing?
Engineer.
Yes, engineer. We'll get
Accountant.
to
We'll get to you.
accountant. Yes.
Yes.
As
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
that
The other
Dentist.
horrified their parents going from accounting to online marketing. I understand that there's hope, moms. All you immigrant moms out there, don't worry.
Yes.
There's hope. You just need to obsess over something. So with that said, let's talk about how you disappointed your immigrant mother as well. Going from the mecca position to online marketing, but obviously proving your decision right. So walk us through kind of your exploration, and then let's talk a little bit about how you guys work together. I'm curious to know that stuff, and then we'll get to the nuggets. We're gonna get to the nuggets, guys. Don't worry. Hold on, but this is also really, really valuable because I just want to bring one thing together. You mentioned, Jem, that I think is really, really key. Is just like you said, become obsessed. So we're going to circle on that theme because I think it's really important for all of you folks out there in the grind right now to listen to this and pull the right message out of it. But first, let's hear from Syed and also his journey, which similar but obviously a little bit different too.
Yeah, I guess, for me, I did go down the traditional route of going to university, studying engineering, getting my degree, everything like that.
Did you get the job too?
I got the job, everything, and like, I realized, I guess even when I was much younger, like, I always wanted to, like, figure out how to make extra money, not just go down the traditional route. So I did have that in my mind, like, for quite a while. I just didn't know how to do it. And I think I just stumbled upon an opportunity, which I mentioned earlier. My housemate at the time was doing sales calls in his bedroom, making 5-10K a month. And that kind of blew me away at the time. I was thinking, man, you can just sit in your bedroom and just make money on the internet. So I had no clue, like, this whole marketing industry was out there, right? Because I was always told you go to work every day and like, you have to be in the office and that kind of stuff. And
You got to be on the hamster wheel to prove
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
over and over
exactly.
and over.
Yeah. And so that blew me away, and I just kind of got learning from him, and he introduced me to this mastermind, Daily Business Hustle, the same one that Jem was in. And yeah, I would say obsession is the perfect word, because as soon as I got in the first day, I was obsessed, just consuming all the courses, speaking to all the coaches, trying to learn everything I could. Any spare time I had after work, on the bus and train to work, I would be watching courses and running Facebook ads for clients and things like that. So I was definitely super obsessed, and was essentially like onboarding clients. And whilst I had my job for around a year and a half, was constantly had clients I was working with, kind of growing them and scaling them. And that's how I got into it. And then got to a certain point where I was making a lot more money through this, and it just, I had to, like, go full time into it.
That's awesome.
And at the same time, me and Jem partnered up, and we kind of even moved in together. We created, like, what we call the Hustle House.
The Hustle House.
The Hustle House.
That could take on different
meanings.
meanings if you add a couple extra letters to that. Too.
Yes.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Love that.
So yeah,
What was for you guys, going through that transition, because you're leaving something, that's lucrative, like, an idea of, like, okay, if you were to tell anybody's parents, hey, your kid is going to be a doctor and an engineer, and they'll be like, oh man, I'm I made it as parents, I did it. What was the scariest thing about transitioning, like, because you said there was this excitement about it, but what was there any fear in following that path for you, or was it just like, hey, it's clear, I'm going this route?
I think when you find something that you truly are obsessed with, it clouds every other emotion that you have. So, the risk, it might not work out. You don't think that. Like, this is going to be a really cool career and I don't really know what's on the other side. Maybe this marketing thing won't work out. You don't think that. Like, when you really just obsess about the copywriting, the marketing, how do I get better on sales calls, everything like that, it literally clouds any sort of like logic behind what you're doing. I think that also applied to me because I was like 19 at the time. So like you don't really think more than a step ahead at that age, to be honest.
You're just in it now. 19
Yeah.
is one of the most present ages that you could be at because you don't know anything beyond being 19.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a blissful ignorance, I'll
Yeah.
be honest. So yes, okay, medicine is a very secure career, there's a predetermined path, you can be earning six figures as a consultant by the time you're like 37, 38. It is a career that's, you really get to like help others and you can like save people's lives and everything like that.
Right.
But in the UK, you are not treated very well by the government. You are working 80 hours a week. You're on call. Like they just call you in the middle of the night to come in. I think the sticking point for me was when I was shadowing the doctors, and then they're literally all telling me, don't go into medicine. I regret it. Like every single, I tell you, 90% of like doctors I spoke to all said to me, don't go into medicine. So it's like, how can I go into something where people literally don't do it? And they'd come into work and they'd be tired, like dark circles around their eyes, and I was like, no, forget it. I'm either going to make this. I can't go down this path.
You're like, I'd rather be tired looking
and
at a campaign.
Listen, I love my mum, but I'm going to listen to the doctor over what my mum says about
Yeah.
the career advice about being a doctor. So I was just like at a point where like, okay, I can't really see myself doing anything else. I really, really enjoy this marketing. I'm just going to figure this out. So it's just blissful ignorance at the end of the day.
That's great. What would you say? How for you that? Then I want to circle around to the point, and then we'll actually go into we'll do some Facebook nuggets, guys. But yeah, where at what point for you did it feel kind of similar? Was it just an obsession, or what was that hard breakaway point when you turned this into like the full-time career?
I think for me it was realizing that when I got my first sale, and it was a tiny amount, maybe $100 or something, to make a ClickFunnels landing page, to create campaigns, to make some image ads and things like that. But to me, that was back then. It wasn't a lot of money, but I realized, okay, if I could do this once for $100, I could keep doing this for a lot more over the long term.
Yeah.
And so for me, like just getting that first sale, going on the sales call, speaking to someone and I'd never done a sales call in my life before. That was the first time. I think that was one of the key moments for me, just getting that first client and onboarding them, retaining them for a few months, making delivering good results and things like that. And I was enjoying it. Like traditionally, I came from an engineering background and things like that, but looking into the kind of advertising and marketing and sales side of things, like I actually really enjoyed it, and so developed a passion for it and realized, look, I could make a lot of money over the long term by doing this. For me, I think that was like one of the main, just realizing, okay, I could make money online.
Once it became
just that feeling
tangible.
with the money hitting the bank account as well.
Yeah.
A very potent feeling, like sending the PayPal link and seeing, okay, wow, it's here.
Yeah.
Which was very, at the time it was mind blowing. So
It's still mind blowing a little bit to
Yeah.
this day. Like
Yeah.
the launches and numbers might change, but sometimes you're sitting back like, this is wild, right? It's a wild world that we both live in. So you were going to say something real fast, Cem?
No.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
Well,
Moving on.
Because what I wanted to say, I think what you guys highlighted, I think is so key, and that word that we're going to continue to echo on is obsession, right? It should at some point become an obsession. I feel and see a lot of newbie people get caught up in outcome and not get obsessed about process. Because what you guys both mentioned, that I think is really key, is you were not obsessed with outcome. You were obsessed with process. The copy, the ads, the piece that got you to, even though the sale amount was small, that process you were obsessed with because you saw potential. And so for all you people out there right now, if you're struggling, you're getting into this, find yourself and give yourself the space to be obsessed and start obsessing. Because obsession now and obsession today will lead to success later. But you have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. You have to love delivering whatever those results are and love the process and become obsessed with that. I could tell you I've interviewed a lot of people that are very successful. And one of the most common things that is synonymous with all of them is exactly that obsession that you guys shared and you had, where the story changes, the obsession is exactly the same. It's in fact, it's what I tell my kids all the time, every single day. I'm like, I just want you to find something to obsess about. Because like you said, when you're 19, you have an abundance of time and a willingness to risk more than you probably should. So that is an ideal time to become obsessed. So for all those out there listening, if you're not obsessed, get obsessed. If you're not obsessed with this industry, get out, right? Until you can find something you are obsessed. And I don't say that to be rude, but like, don't waste your time being mediocre at something. Find a way to get obsessed and get great at it as soon as you can and delve into it. And who knows, you might be on our podcast someday having the same conversation at Diamond Summit. It could be you into the future. So with that, let's talk about some things that make us a lot of money. So I said we were going to talk about how you guys interact in the partnership level. We'll see if we have time at the end, but I'm actually super duper curious about some things that are working on Facebook with you right now. Because I know there's a lot of people that are complaining more about how Facebook is the devil and they seem to hate it, but they can't get away from it. So instead of the people complaining about the toxic relationship they have with Meta, what are some things that you guys are doing that are really working out very well for you in your business?
Yeah, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, so I think for us, we've been advertising primarily on Facebook for a long time, eight years now. And I think at this point, how much have we spent? Maybe $150 million, something like that, over the past.
That sounds like a good number. We'll go with 150.
Yeah.
Crazy amount.
Yeah. That's quite the education of $150 million could teach you, right?
I mean, across tons of different verticals as well, like with beauty, skincare, weight loss, everything, telemed. And I think Facebook's changed a lot over the years. Like previously, a lot of it was about kind of being really narrow in your targeting, trying to like find the right lookalike audience or the right interest group and things like that, and kind of messing around with your campaigns all the time, testing at lower budgets, and kind of not even optimizing for conversions, trying to optimize for traffic and retargeting users and things like that. And I think over the years, Facebook's really evolved a lot with their ad products, especially their kind of, Facebook's an AI company pretty much. And so they've really evolved their ad products to hone in on the targeting. And so we don't worry about that kind of stuff anymore. We do broad audience targeting, and Facebook is just a creative and funnel game nowadays. It's and it has been for a while, actually. And so a lot of our focus, kind of 70% of our team are kind of either copywriters or creative strategists. Or video editors, and so like we our team is built in a way where we're focused primarily on that. And the way we see it is like media buyers can media buying is kind of a leverage role, and there's not that much you can do on the media buying side because, as I said, Facebook is an AI product, and so they do all the targeting for you, right? And so we focus a lot on the creative side and the funnel side rather than tactically what we can do in ad accounts, media buying, and things like that.
What does that look like when you're focusing on the creative side? For if you are an affiliate marketer being like, okay, I need to hone in. What are you guys doing in your agency? But also, what would you be doing if it was just you right now? For the creatives, take away the big team, take away all that. What would you be doing so you could win at creatives right now?
Yeah, I think as if I was a one-man operation, I would really go into how I can leverage AI as much as possible in terms of how can I use AI to increase the output of creatives I'm doing. How can I research the best angles? How can I understand my customer persona in the best way? I think when we got started years ago, we didn't have ChatGPT or we didn't have Foro where we could produce image ads at scale. We had it was very rudimentary. And so now I think one person can produce thousands of ads on their own using AI, using all the different tools that are available, Midjourney and 11 Labs and things like that. And so I think, like with the tools that are available now, like the output can be so high.
Wow.
And I don't think you really need a huge team to get to a really good level of scale on Meta nowadays. But I would say because Facebook is a creative game. I think just understanding, and I think the most important thing is just understanding the psychology of the consumer, understanding what kind of angles will work well, what you can do to actually innovate as well, not just copy what's. I think it's very easy to just copy what's already out there and download it and re-upload it, but you're always kind of a step behind if you do it that way. I think with us, we always try to come up with unique angles, unique scripts. We shoot our own production. We do our own productions in the office. We shoot our own content and things like that. So I think that's a big edge. Like you should be unique. Try to be original, not just rip and run what's already out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Try to be as original as possible. And not just like copy what other people are doing.
It's funny because I've mentioned this on some of our past podcasts, but I think that's one of the big things that people are forgetting that's going to happen with AI is ultimately AI will replace those that don't think creatively at the end of the day. Because if I could produce myself a bunch of creatives that mimics what's already out there, we're going to accelerate any sort of copying trends. So if you do something unique, it'll get replicated so fast. It's such high volume with AI that it's in a way, if you are in the copying game, you're always going to be so behind and so chasing the memory of dollars versus actually making real ones. So anything to add to that, Cem, in terms of the creative game? And then I have a couple of questions to ask you guys about this. I think, love what you're saying, and I think it's really, really amazing that it goes back to the core. But I wanted to understand that transition a little bit. But yeah, anything to add to that?
I think over on the creative side and following on to the funnel side, I think people don't leverage enough third-party advertising.
Okay.
So if you think about it, right, Facebook, Instagram, they are like top of funnel channels.
Yeah.
So you've got a brand, you're trying to get new customers, people don't know you, advertise from the brand page. Hey, you're gonna, have like lose the appearance of your wrinkles with this skincare product, or you're gonna lose weight with this. Like people have like are very like blind to this kind of advertising. So I'm not sure why people aren't doing this enough yet. Like I do see a lot of brands using third-party ads, but not as much as they should. And really what you want to be doing is you want to be like whitelisting and running into advertorials that are not by the brand, but are by third parties. So for example, if you've got like a GLP-1 offer, have a video of an endocrinologist speaking about the benefits of GLP-1, how easy it's to take, how the fact there's an oral version, so an injectable version. Lead that to an advertorial that talks more about GLP-1, when to take it, how the price, what the best provider is, maybe the one that the doctor's partnered with, and then go that to the offer. Because the thing is, people aren't going to listen to a brand that they don't know, right? And that's why those ads are very hard to scale. But if you've got ads from like a doctor, a dermatologist, or an influencer, people are going to pay attention, they're going to listen, and you can basically borrow the credibility of these third-party authorities and take them to your brand. So I think that's one of the key points I would say if you're in the health, the beauty, the products where you're selling them through claims and the value is not realized until the product is bought and then used. Third-party advertising works really, really well.
That's really awesome. Yeah, when it's about third party, I was thinking something else.
Yeah,
I was gonna bring up you guys. But I love that because what you're really talking about is you're taking the organic process that a normal consumer would go by to buy a product, and you're condensing and accelerating that into a funnel. Because most time I'm going to go to authority figure to tell me that this is okay. Oh, trust and like, and then I want another authority figure like an advertorial or some sort of advertising.
And they're going to go on their own search, and then by that point, they're gone.
But you could structure all that within Flow so you get the same points that you need from organic to build that trust, then going right into sale, which again is predicated on understanding the consumer, creative markets, and overall marketing methodology. So, Michael, you had some things to add, and I want to talk a little about third party and bring it up.
I have one, like maybe it's just a follow-up because I'm interested on this on the creative side. So, all these AI tools that are out there, where does the transition come into play where, okay, I have all these tools, we have all these cool hooks that we've come up with, we have all these different headlines, we have all these images and all that. When do we bring people back into it now? When do you bring your living, breathing creative team to be like, okay, this was good, but maybe it's a little uncanny valley. Maybe it's not quite there. Where is that transition coming into place so that you are having all that creative content of having, well, maybe I'm wrong and it doesn't. Does it have to have a human touch even to be a great converting offer?
Yeah, I'll go.
Who takes this one?
So I think the question is more like, what just use AI entirely and not have people? Or when do you
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
people into
Where
the
do you bring
process?
them in? What,
When does
what's their role?
where does human intervention count in your creative process?
So I would say, at the end of the day, someone has to strategize the direction. So someone has to come up with the angle. Someone has to understand, the customer sentiment, what their pain points are, what their future desires are. And an AI can sort of do that, but someone has to prompt it. Someone has to check its output, right? We all know like AIs can just output the wrong thing. They hallucinate. They just completely miss the mark. Someone has to check that. So the way I look at it is like AI just doesn't do the job, but what it does is it facilitates the job. And so you're going to see a wave of people becoming more like strategists, prompters, people who with more of a marketing mind, and then letting the AI do more of the execution. So that's where I think it's going to be in place. So you're just going to see people, rather than editing the ad in Photoshop, they're typing the prompt, right, and to generate the image. So we're going to see definitely more marketers in companies that need direct response marketing, basically, and less of those execution roles, for sure.
No, that's beautiful, and I really want to come back to that a little bit later because I think there's this great developing theme that I really, really love here. But I want to go back to some tactical things that you'd mentioned on the doing third party advertising that sound really interesting to me. So for when you're going out, let's use the medical example, whether it's a dermatologist or if it's an endocrinologist, whatever it might be. When you guys are going out and finding those medical professionals for your creative, like, do you guys have a source you're going to? Do you guys have a bank of doctors? Is there a website that it's like doctor for hire? What's the way you go get those medical professionals?
All the friends that you had who went into medical school and told you not to be in there.
Yeah. Well, they would still not be qualified to do the writing. Couple ways. So the first one is going to be direct outreach.
Okay.
This could be straight through on Instagram. The second way...
but you do Instagram because you want to make sure you find somebody that has an online presence already.
Not quite.
Really? Okay.
Not quite.
No. So
Interesting.
I'll explain the secrets.
Okay,
right?
yes. Okay. Yes, the secrets, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you can have doctors with a presence.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with doctors with a presence is, one, they're expensive. They're getting approached by the branch. It's very hard to get some sort of exclusivity clause with them. And 3, there's usually an agent that gets in the way and will try and, put the most ridiculous usage rights in the contract, charge you an arm and a leg, because they know that the doctor is really valuable to you. And that's all fine. Like, big doctors should have agents, right? The doctor needs to focus on being a doctor and a content creator at the same time. But what works really, really well, and what we found as well, is you find, let's say, dermatologists don't have much of doctors, dermatologists, whatever the doctor is, and then they don't have much of a social profile, or maybe they're not on social media at all. But they want to get on social media. They want to make money outside the clinic. They want to share their expertise with others and sort of start to reduce the hours down at the clinic, right? Because a lot of the people you want to work with are at the point where they've got families and stuff, and then, that becomes more of a priority than the career. So what we kind of do is we say, okay, cool, that we'll build your social presence up. From that, you will get other brand deals coming to you. We'll help build your profile up. That way, we work directly with the doctor. We have more of a relationship with them because there's no agent in the way that stops us from communicating with them. The dermatologist isn't spread too thin across multiple different brands. We just kind of get to build a few key relationships with a few key dermatologists. The downside is they're not trained on camera, but over time, my staff will train the dermatologist on camera, give them feedback. When we shoot VSLs with them, they get better and better and better. And if the doctor is motivated to grow their social presence and earn this side income by promoting these different products, they will, they're smart people, they will pick it up and they will get good on camera if they've got the personality and the drive to do it. So to go to your point, you want the ones with big social presence, I would say no, you don't. You want both, really. And it's all about finding which is the most cost effective. The best solution, regardless of social presence, is to find a doctor that whose personality resonates well with the user. They've got the benefit that the user wants. So, for example, if you're selling a product that, let's say, fades dark spots, right? You want a black or Hispanic dermatologist with very clear skin, no black, obviously no dark spots on there, right? That's going to work the best, regardless of if it's a big derm with 1 million followers or someone without a presence, right? So that's the really to key look for, I would say, don't only go after the doctors with a social presence. There's a lot of value to be gained from helping to build theirs from scratch.
Yeah.
It's a relationship game at the end of the day.
No, I love that. Especially, like you said, you're building their side, and I know it's smart to go a different route, right? Because my brain went towards big social
I
presence.
was just like, allowed the heavy lift to already be there, but and what you said about like, okay, well, we'll help you build the social presence too. It's like it's almost the opposite, where you're like, we're going to be the leg up for them in that regard of expanding their brand and their social presence and who can find them. So that's really cool. That's I think it's a
really great way to get those individuals, right? And especially doing it. It takes a little bit of work, but you could build such better relationships. You get efficacy and efficiency all at the same time.
I think another thing to add there is when you've got a dermatologist or endocrinologist or whatever, and they are like active and they're always recommending a different like product every week. The audience knows it's just like they've been given this product, promote the product, and yes, the doctor's only going to promote a product that they believe in, right? But fundamentally, like the audience is like, they know it's just like a recommendation. They know the doctor's getting a commission off the back end of it. Whereas if you've got a doctor who's promoting only one line of products, right, there's a lot more credibility weighted to their like story or like why they're buying this product, because they're not seen promoting anything else, right? They're not seen as someone who's like, sole source of income is promoting products as a content creator rather than being the doctor. So I generally think there is a lot of value to be gained by building the presence for the doctors that you work with.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I think that's an amazing way to put it. And like you said, that you get more authenticity, right? That high level of authenticity. As we see that Facebook moves to an AI platform, and I'd say all social media, authenticity continues to be a more and higher premium that people put on things. So I actually want to go back to what you mentioned too earlier, Sadie, that we've really seen Facebook move to being like an AI company that values good creative. So my question for you is understanding that, at least my understanding of a lot of that was once Facebook lost the ability to pipe in third-party data as first-party data, it really shifted the game because it became almost impossible to get that very precise targeting that you had before. Now, if you were able to bring in first-party data back into Facebook and have that marketing, do you think that would still work if you could target, if you had the ability to get first-party data in? Or do you think just they've changed the algorithm so much that regardless of what I piped in, I probably am never going to get the success that I would have had in the past?
Yeah, I think Facebook has the most data out of any other social media platform. They've been collecting user data for years. Almost everyone has an Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp profile, and so I think they know their users better than anyone else, and they have a lot of strong AI algorithms to be able to target those users. So I think first-party data is useful probably if you have, for example, your own customer base that you want to target with some specific messaging and things like that. Of course, you can tell Facebook, look, these are my customers, target them with this messaging, and that works phenomenally well. But in terms of overall, with Facebook, it's a top of funnel channel, right? We're not just trying to remarket our own customers. We want to get new customers into our funnel. We want to grow our brand, and you can only do that by expanding your reach and targeting users who have never seen or heard of your brand before. And so I think Facebook is the best channel for that, because as I said, they can target. They know which user is kind of browsing similar product categories to what you're selling. And so they can serve the right ads at the right time. So I think first-party data is useful for when you have very specific kind of remarketing, things like that you want to do. But if you want to grow your brand and acquire new customers, I don't think it's that necessary.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good to hear. So even if I found some way magically, which I know some people that promote this, right, to bring in third-party data as first-party data into Facebook. From your perspective, and I think this makes a lot of sense, they've changed so much in the way that their ad platform works, you wouldn't even get the gains that you would have had in the past anyway.
It's just not statistically significant in the campaign. Yeah. You're not going to see, you have one versus the other, it's still about the creatives and it's still about
Exactly.
okay.
Broad target. And we've tested a lot of different types of audiences in terms of, let's say, we get third party data, we try to upload those lists to Facebook, we run A/B tests and see what works better. And for us, like, it's always broad audiences, relying on the algorithm that works the best at scale for us.
Yeah. It's been a couple of years since I've heard people that just kind of have that methodology, but another big scale media buyer, they're like, listen, I can't beat the algorithm. I try. And this is back when you could put first party data in. He's like, I've stopped because it was wasting a lot of money for me. So I think that's really, really interesting. I'm glad to kind of highlight that point. So going back, now I'm really curious because we talked a lot about creative to this point, and I don't know if it's just my love of creative, but I always like talking about like surprising winners, like just a creative hook or an angle on a product that you're like, didn't think it would work, but man, was it really cool. Can you guys think of maybe one recently, just a fun winner that you guys had in your creatives where it was a wild idea that just crushed more than you thought it would? Any that stand out to you?
There's one recently, I think in skincare. The angle was like pretty person problem.
A pretty person problem. That's good. I like
Pretty
that.
person.
Yeah, and it just shows like, you know, the storytelling and the creative and kind of that point of like not getting to the point and then explaining what the pretty person problem is. You know, you're not feeling pretty anymore as you get older and stuff like that. It's like, you know, the first 30 seconds, like, hey, what's the point of this video? Like, what's the offer? What are you selling? What, you're a dermatologist, but you know, you're not talking to me about hyaluronic acid or peptides. You're just talking about this like story about one of your patients, and it kind of really goes to show like how important the storytelling is, and how you don't have to get to the point always, and you can tie in your offer like later on after you kind of, you know, make a story, have that story relate to the person. Oh yeah, I felt like that. I've gone through that same problem where guys were looking at me in my 20s, and now in my 40s, I'm not getting the same. Oh, I know what this done, and then they just get like sucked into like what she has to say and everything like that, and you know, and then there's the offer off the back of that, right? So I think like I've seen ads where, you know, people are coming up with all sorts of like narratives and stories, and you know, I've thought like, man, there's no way anyone's going to believe this. There's no way anyone's going to like resonate with this. Like they're just going to lose. But no, they do work. So I think just get creative with the stories and narratives. You know, some of my best copy on my advertorials has always had some sort of like story and, you know, loads of open looping and like close the looping, and it's like a product review. You know, I'm not saying the features and benefits. I'm saying, oh, you know, I had this product and it was recommended to me by this person, and when she tried it, you know, she said this and her friend said, and it's like, you know, it's all like crazy, like open and closed looping here. So I think, you know, when we talk about like what creatives or marketing or what's like stands out to you, I think it's just this very indirect storytelling and narratives like can work. If you nail it, it can work really, really well.
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting too is the concept is so confusing but very interesting, right? Pretty girl problems.
Yeah.
In there, it's like so paradoxical already, and then you bring that into the story. Like, I want to understand the story of the paradoxical statement of pretty girl problems, because I'm like, I understand pretty girls have no problems.
And it's a good, and it's like I was just gonna say, it's just humorous. It's like a humorous entryway too, of help making somebody feel seen, making somebody feel like on both ends of the spectrum, and being like, must be nice to have pretty girl problems.
Yeah. Even if you hate those pretty girls, you want to know what their problems are. So,
how when you guys are creating these hooks, is there one person who's just like riffing just on like right like in the Slack chat, just being like, here's another one, or you guys, like you said, you have your creative teams in the office
kind of collaborating.
Are you collaborating there in like a room where somebody's like, no, this, or were you guys in the room for pretty girl problems and everyone's like, oh my god, that's amazing. Everybody, like, how does that process look when you're coming up with these hooks, these headliners and all that?
I think for me, when I'm in the shower and thinking about random things, these ideas.
Hopefully the team's out
in the
with you,
shower,
right?
Book it.
Or when I'm sleeping in my dreams. But no, I think it's a mix of things. Like we're talking about ideas, right? What ideas you can come up with that you can turn into that will make you money. And I think like there's different aspects to it. I think a lot of it is research, seeing what's kind of currently trending in the market. You know, what are people talking about? even what's on the news and things like that, what's going viral on TikTok. I think that's a big part of it. So just constantly being like absorbed in what's going on in your industry, and so I think that'll kind of naturally get your brain flowing, even when you're not trying to think about ideas or craves. It will help. So I think that's a big part of it. Just constantly being on top of what's going on, what's trending.
Are you messaging it to yourself when you're like,
always,
like a message, or you have a notepad or something?
Yeah, I mean, I always like see, for example, if I'm just on Instagram, I see an ad that I like, I'd forward it to, like, we have a group chat where we just send ads to each other and things like that.
Yeah.
So we do that kind of stuff. We'd download it and review later, things like that. I think also we do have kind of more meetings set between our team, where they kind of come together and discuss, okay, this is why I see what's working, these are the ads we've launched, this is working well, this isn't, this is how we can iterate and things like that. So we do have more set meetings for that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think it's just kind of different ways of doing research and things like that come together to come up with good ad ideas.
Well, I like that too, because sometimes I think a lot of people get caught in consuming marketing information to come up with ads, and I think it's a big mistake. Like, I think some of the best marketing research I've ever done had nothing to do with marketing, podcast or YouTube channels. It was always consuming the information, the content of the audience you're going to, and that's where you get a lot of those great ideas. So I love that, and I realize, like, I'm like, oh man, we're going to be talking forever. So I want to start bringing back, as we promised, a certain time frame for you guys. But one idea, and I mentioned I was going to bring this up because I think one of the things that I've found so impactful about what you guys talked about is you didn't necessarily share a tactic in anything that was very specific, but what you found has been the base of your success is actually understanding core principles around marketing strategy. So, and I tell that, we say it on this podcast all the time, and to people, like, a tactic is nice, but strategy is what really means success. Like, know the core marketing strategies and concepts. And you guys have highlighted that. Understand the language of your market, know their pain, understand their pain in the language they use for that pain. Use that to create your ads and blah, 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 so on and so forth. And then knowing all the triggers around that, the basis of copy. So with that, what I'd love to actually talk about and share as we kind of wrap things up, and we'd mentioned some of the content you said, reading all these books, is sharing maybe the core marketing strategy, like Bible, or the piece of content that you would really drive people to, that you think helps people understand marketing, copy, storytelling. Like, for example, one of the ones that was given to me by Perry Belcher was Save the Cat. It's a book on screenplay writing. I think it's one of the absolute best ways to understand stories that sell, how to write stories that sell. It has nothing to do with marketing and everything to do with marketing. So what is that concept or that book or that piece of material that you guys would recommend our listeners, really anybody, should get into when they're really talking about the base concept of marketing? And then after that, I want to talk to, like, how could people work with you and really tap into your guys' expertise on a close, intimate level. But we'll do that after we get this answer.
So what you're saying is, like, what are the books or podcast, whatever you recommend?
Yeah, but a piece of content,
Okay.
You only get one, just one gem.
Yes. And why is it a meme?
Okay, so Cashvertising by Dr. Drew Eric Whitman, hands down, best book. Like, all my creative strategy copywriters who start, like, the first thing they do is they read that book.
Yeah,
mandatory requirement. To continue with us at VB is the first thing they all do, because it is just an incredible book. Like, it's quite short and concise, but it just gets straight to the point.
Yeah.
Here are the life force 8. Here are the secondary learned desires. So I think if you want to get really good understanding of consumer psychology, read that book, read it again, and read it again, and write notes. It is probably the best book on copywriting, I think. And then I know I said only one, but I have to give a second, which is going to be breakthrough advertising.
just break the rules all right.
Yeah, just going.
It has to be breakthrough advertising. That's a close second.
Oh, yeah.
But
do you have an actual physical copy? That's an original book of breakthrough advertising.
I do.
Of course.
It's not easy to get.
Yeah, I know that's a tough one. Yeah. That might be the hardest marketing book to buy in the business, but just there's ebooks, guys. It's okay. Yeah. Just get a digital version.
Yeah,
that's awesome. No, that's a great one. So fantastic. All right, Syed, what do you got for us?
I was thinking the same thing, but the other way around. So breakthrough advertising number 1, and then cash advertising number 2. So
beautiful. Well, those are two. So see, you got one each of you guys, and those as reading both of them, those are fantastic books. And like I said, it's just consumer buying behavior and strategy. And if you know that, you could apply it to almost every marketing situation and see long-term success as things change. So that's really, really amazing. So, well, Michael, I mentioned a book. What about you? What is your marketing mecca that you'd recommend people?
My marketing
consume?
mecca is like as you said, like going to the film. Mine is more of a theater influence, actually. It's the unofficial guide to improv.
Interesting.
By Upright Citizens Brigade by Matt Besser. What I find interesting about it is it's not just this like, oh, here's how to yes and be on stage and all that. It goes into the principles of why somebody's watching you up there. So just in the way that you set a scene, like the who, the what, the where, how quickly you're getting into things really quickly. And that can apply so easily to writing. It can apply so easily to the way that you're setting a frame, because how you start a scene is the frame in which you set the scene, which is just like marketing. It's like, how are you setting the frame? How are you leading people into it? What information you give them to start out leads them on their journey of where you want them to go. And so I think it's a great book, and I also think it's great in our industry because it can also help you be a better networker.
Yeah. Well, no, I think big part there of improv is how do you keep people engaged, right? What's one of the biggest challenges we have in marketing? Pay attention to me. Yeah, we're all middle children with bad parents that didn't give us some attention. Pay attention to me, right? So that's the whole basis.
That's why
of
we're
that.
here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's beautiful, guys. So let's kind of transition here. Obviously, you have a brilliant agency that's doing a lot on ClickBank, but a lot more outside that. So when you're talking about whether it's the offers you're looking for or the clients you like to work with, talk us through kind of your dream client portfolio. For those that are listening, are like, man, these guys seem super smart. I'd like to work with them. Let's kind of talk about what that perfect synchronicity would be.
Yeah, I'd say fast-growing health and wellness brands, selling in the US, looking to scale and get new subscribers, new customers on Meta, kind of in that like 8-figure range, trying to get to 9 figures. Those would be the kind of ideal clients for us, whether it be like in supplements, telemedicine, in cosmetics, skincare, anything like that, really. Just health, wellness, beauty, that's our bread and butter.
Beautiful, man. Well, you might meet some people over the next couple days that would fit in that profile, and I know we'll make some great connections for you. In fact, we'll be sure to do that probably starting even tomorrow, if not today.
Yeah.
So, in fact, you guys already got to experience some of that with some Topgolf yesterday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The gem of Boise.
Yeah. Well, and then tomorrow, I don't know if Michael told you, we're also going to be taking you guys to shoot some guns, because I think one of the best things to do when you come from the UK is come here and see all of our very loose laws around the firearms.
Welcome to the
and
yokels.
enjoy fully automatic weapons. So that should be a great time. So with that, guys, really, really appreciate your time. For all those out there that fit that profile and you want to work with some of the slickest and best media buyers out there, please reach out to us at affiliated@clickbank.com if you feel like you fit that profile. We're happy to ask you a couple questions and make sure to get that connection for you. We're also going to connect you guys with some great folks over our Diamond Summit. For those who might be wondering what Diamond is, we're going to have more podcasts from Diamond. And another way to remember it, this is just a beautiful way for all of you guys to see really the best of the best that ClickBank has to offer in terms of marketers, businesses. We bring you out to have not only a great vacation, but power networking and power influence, so you guys continue to make power impacts in your business like you two have. Not only people's lives, but obviously people who consume the products, the companies, and all of your employees. Super, super awesome. So before we let you go, though, anything else you'd like to say to all the listeners out there, or anything you'd like to say about Boise, and say anything offensive, this would be your time to piss off all Boiseans if you want to, or make us happy. Your choice.
Do you want to piss them off?
I don't really want to piss anyone off, but I would say like what we said at the start. If anyone's watching that wants to start affiliate marketing on ClickBank, like I think there's so many people that have gone, they're obsessed about it, have started it, and are very successful. So I think that's what we said at the start. Just become obsessed with it, consume everything, consume all the podcasts that you guys do, and
You hear that, guys? All of them. Every single one.
All
Rate, review,
200.
subscribe. 200. All 200 episodes.
Yes.
By the time you do that through your own obsession, you will have mastery. So,
Yes.
challenge accepted, listeners. Go do it.
You'll
So,
know Kyle
awesome.
Kostecka better than he knows himself.
Yes, which won't take a lot. Jem, anything to add to that? That was beautiful, by the way, Syed. Thank you.
What about Boise or ClickBank? Or
Whatever
marketing?
you want, man. It's
Oh,
your
man, he
free
was
time.
ready
This
for
is your
Boise.
last
He's like,
message.
I got.
You want to bash some
got things
Boise?
in the
It's
chamber.
okay.
I was going to say nice things about Boise.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Even
good.
better.
I'm actually quite critical of a lot of places in America. Boise is one of the few places I like.
That's awesome.
Because it's like Austin, and Austin's one of my favorite places
Yeah.
to go to. No, all I can say is, look, if you're looking to get into affiliate marketing, like ClickBank has really, really good offers. The support is great, and they'll guide you in the right direction. They'll help you, like, hey, here's what creatives you should use as landers, everything like that. They really help you set up for success to be successful in affiliate marketing. Because at the end of the day, I can't think of many things that are more leveraged and lucrative than to get into, affiliate marketing and, selling products on a CPA basis. Like, there's really no other business that you can is that like lucrative that doesn't have all the downsides, right? You don't have to get an office. It's not like running a restaurant or like brick and mortar. Like literally from your laptop, if you've got the skills, you can make a really like good income with affiliate marketing. And ClickBank support is just great. They'll help you get there.
Beautiful. Doctors be damned. Let's go do some ClickBank online marketing instead, guys. So beautiful. Really appreciate your time. Super excited to host you guys for the next couple days. And really excited to take you up to Sun Valley and be inspired by great writers, great snow, and a really good time. So it'll be fantastic. With that, Michael, again, thank you for joining us and not just spouting off top offers. It's great to have your insights.
I was just ready.
I
I wanted to no.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't have to count. This is so great.
I didn't have to count. It's hard to get to 5.
For all the listeners, please rate, review, subscribe. As we mentioned, please email us if you feel like it's a great fit for you at affiliated@clickbank.com. Until next time, since Thomas isn't here, Michael, can you give us a Thomas phrase on your way out?
Happy scaling, y'all.
Beautiful. Be safe. Thanks so much.